Lola Bonta, Temwa Shawinga, and the Kansas City Current lift their second trophy of the summer after winning the Summer Cup in a 2-0 game over Gotham FC. Confetti falls to the ground, Darian.
I love it.
Taylor Swift lyric for you.
You could tell me anything's a Taylor Swift lyric, and I'd believe it at this point, honestly.
Welcome into our studio coverage for attacking third of the Summer Cup final alongside former NWSL champion, Taylor Swift's #1 fan, Darian Jenkins. I'm Lisa Carlin.
Lying on camera.
Kansas City, they get the 2-0 win over Gotham FC, and Kansas City came into this match looking like the stronger side. They didn't have a lot of players to replace during this international window. What aspect of Kansas City's game plan was so effective?
We talked in depth about how Kansas City coming in transition was going to be so effective. They were great at building and playing through the middle of the pitch. The combination play was so lethal that Gotham couldn't block the spaces, couldn't shut out Claire Hutton turning on the ball, finding Labonte. I mean, both goals were identical for Shawinga, and I think it came from their midfield movement, the connectivity between them, shifting Gotham around, and it's really how they put the nail in the coffin in this match.
Who else wants to be part of the Congo line led by Temwa Shawinga?
Me.
Me too. Look how much fun they're having. You can tell that this Kansas City group is in it for all the right reasons, right? There's so many different players that can step up in different moments. How much does team camaraderie off the pitch help when you get into a match in a final?
Oh, it's immense, because then you know all of the blood, sweat, and tears, the travel, the nights you don't sleep, the nights that your body aches, we're not able to recover, the rotations, the lack of minutes. This is all worth it when you get to dance holding the trophy. You get a bonus, you get the bragging rights, you get to celebrate with your best friends that you get to spend every day in and out with, and it makes all of this worth it in these moments.
The players continue to celebrate at Toyota Field as Kansas City lifts the Summer Cup trophy. Let's take you through how they did it, because it was a steamy night in San Antonio, Texas. Kansas City Current, the home team, against Ella Stevens and Gotham FC. Temwa Shawinga leading the regular season with goals, and in the 24th minute, this beautiful build-up for the Current.
This is what I mean, playing directly through with something we didn't expect from Kansas City. Claire Hutton to Labonte with a one-touch, but it's Shawinga, the crafty pump fake against Cassie Miller, and she ultimately chips it over her. But it's the textured ball from Labonte that's able to get this into Shawinga's path with a great first touch. And then just those moments you train over and over again as a forward, 1v1 with the goalkeeper. How are you going to make them bite? And Shawinga does it, not just once, but twice. Again, identical. Goes to Claire Hutton, one touch off of Labonte with her left, and it's Shawinga. Nice little toe poke over the top of Cassie Miller. Was she offside? It doesn't matter. There's no VAR. We went old school in this tournament. No VAR check. Referee doesn't call it. And it's Shawinga again and again, breaking records, taking names, giving Kansas City the win, because that is all that they needed to solidify a 2-0 win against Gotham in this tournament.
Huge game for Temwa Shawinga. Vlatko Andonovski, the head coach for Kansas City Current, pretty proud of his group for sticking through it as they lift the trophy for the Summer Cup. A huge win for Kansas City on the road. They remain unbeaten in 8 consecutive matches across all competitions. They're top 4 in the NWSL regular season. They've cemented themselves a spot in the postseason, and now they get to add this trophy to their cabinet. When you take a look at the stats here, 10 corner kicks for Gotham FC. How were they not able to convert?
I mean, Kansas City has shored up their box defense. Vlatko Andonovski, when we spoke to him, said that was a huge piece of having Schultz in the back line, her directing play, bringing on Alana Cook and Kayla Sharples, helped organize, because they're such analytical players. They already know what they need to fix as soon as everybody gets set. And even though Gotham had opportunity after opportunity, and Gotham looked good the last 10 minutes, they had really good waves of attack. Kansas City has done so well in their box defending that they weren't able to get anything clean, and it showed with them having a shutout.
A really big push for Gotham at the end of this game. It felt like a goal was coming for Gotham.
Yeah.
Where did the spurt of energy change and come from for Gotham FC to be so effective in the final 10 minutes?
I loved seeing Delaney Sheehan finally dribble through the midfield line of Kansas City. I don't think anybody was expecting her to, because Gotham's so good. I mean, it's not typically her player profile. You kind of see that in more of a Roosevelt, Yasmin Ryan, but she took full hold of it and saw that that's what the game was asking for. Instead of these short passes where Kansas City was baiting them and then getting those transitions, she started dribbling through, she started combining with Ella Stevens, and started taking some shots.
Yeah, that's all you were asking for at halftime.
That's what I wanted, and we finally got to see it, but it was just a little bit too late. But I do think they could have put one away against Kansas City. It showed that maybe when they play them in the playoffs or whenever they're going to play them again soon, that's a way that they can try to break them down.
There were some positives for Gotham FC, considering you signed 7 national team replacement players.
Credit.
You have a 14-year-old stepping onto the pitch to make some waves for this side. But overall, when you looked at Juan Carlos Amoros and the game plan for Gotham FC, what was maybe the weakest part of their plan?
It's a shame to say this because this is usually the strongest part of their game, but their build out. It put them in really poor positions. I think sometimes Cassie Miller was trying to play long balls when that's what Kansas City's baiting you to do. They're baiting to jump on these passes that pop out into the wide channels that just aren't accurate enough. And it set Gotham on their heels, and Kansas City just had the momentum go forward. And this was right after one of those moments where it was a transition, Kansas City regained possession, and then just sliced and diced through Gotham's midfield. They weren't organized, weren't clean enough on the ball, but it is really tough when you have so many different players. You're still building chemistry. You're jumping, if you're just signed to this team, you're jumping into new tactics, a quicker style of play, because the NWSL has asked players to do that at this point in the league and its development. And I think we just saw Gotham get taken advantage of because of those reasons.
Juan Carlos Amoros, in speaking with us prior to this match, he said that some of the players didn't even show up until Thursday morning in San Antonio, Texas. So they had maybe one training session to get things together. And at that point, you can't change too many of your tactics. You can't throw too many things at these players ahead of a final. You just have to trust in them and their ability. Although Gotham did try to build out of the back, they weren't effective in that. How did Kansas City pry on Gotham looking to build out?
They just took advantage of those pockets of space where Gotham were trying to play, or there was just a little bit of a missed pass. At this point in the season, at this point in how the league is, and with how good Kansas City are defensively, because they've tightened up so much, they're able to pick the ball off. They were able to break them down through the middle of the pitch because Gotham was so used to suffocating. They're usually the team that's really suffocating higher up the pitch, but they lost it lower. And it was just a little uncharacteristic, but I have to give credit to Gotham. That is so tough going into the final of a tournament, missing so many of your key players, and you bringing on all these players that are just out of retirement, not training in games, not playing 11v11. You know how hard it is to get into shape like that? I mean, shout out to Mana Shim, what she played 70 minutes.
Insane.
It's incredible. So there has to be a lot of credit to Gotham. Under the circumstances, what they had, they still had a really, really good game.
Not only the players that had to step in and be signed as national team replacement players when you take a look at all of the players missing, but the ones that were still there. You take a look at Ella Stevens or Delaney Sheehan, Neely Martin. These are players that had to take on a lot more. How much harder is that for them in a game like this?
It's much more difficult, but I think it shows a lot of growth. This is a moment where they could become real leaders on the team. I think we saw Ella Stevens, Delaney Sheehan, and Neely Martin really step into that role, and it was so fun to watch them because that's just going to make them even better leaders when everybody's there, and I think it's going to take this team to a new level.
Juan Carlos Amoros knew he could call on a few players that he had relationships last year being on the team, one of those being Mana Shim. She got her first start in over a year. Shim is standing by with our very own Jenny Chiu.
All right, I'm here with Mana Shim from Gotham. Mana, my first question was, are you in bits right now? Because you haven't been training, but then you got called on as a national team replacement player. How are you feeling? Tell me the whole process.
I'm destroyed. There are no words for how I feel right now. I'm like, give me some fluids. But I had so much fun. It was the best.
You looked amazing out there. It looked like you were having fun. You have the technical ability. I absolutely love it. But to get the call, this was a little later than you're typically getting a call to be a national team replacement player.
No, this is what happened. We were at the White House a few weeks ago, and Juan said, Mana, just like he did last year, he said, I think we might maybe need some players. And I was like, oh, I can call some friends. Like, I know some people. And he was like, no, but what do you think about it? And I was like, no. Absolutely not. I'm not training. I have a full-time job. And he's like, okay, come on, just 3 days. So I said, you have to go talk to my business partner. And so I went to my business partner, who was also at the White House, and said, can I borrow her for a few days? And
Wow.
Ray said, yes, I know. Shout out to Ray. He was amazing. And he said, yes, have fun. And that's how it happened.
So we all need to Venmo you, so you're getting a massage, cryotherapy, like all of the recovery things because you're here.
Honestly, okay, so I trained 2 days. I trained Wednesday and Thursday. And our medical staff, like, kept me in one piece for the game. And they're gonna have to put me back together after this, because that was crazy. I could not. I looked at the clock when I stepped out and I was like, I just played 88 minutes. That is, like, no.
But how much fun is it? Because so many of us that are, retired and have left playing, to get a call back, we would be elated. Obviously you were. What is that like in your head? You're like, yeah, I get to be in a final again.
Yeah, I was really honored, and I love the team. I love the team that we played against. Like, they're such good people, and it's the best feeling to play at the top of, like, the top level, and to be at the top of your field, whatever field that is. And, like, I will never be as good at anything else as I am at soccer, like, if you think about like where you are in life, the amount of time that's gone into it. And so any opportunity to play against the best of the best, like, I welcome it. But I will be paying for it tomorrow, tonight and tomorrow.
Well, I wish you the best, Mana. Thank you.
Thank you so much. See ya. That was fun.
I love this from Mana. I mean, the way she said it too, when you get a call up, you're gonna take it. And we both grew up playing soccer. It's just a part of your DNA. Of course, you're never gonna turn down an opportunity, especially to go play at the highest level in a final with the reigning champions that you just won a championship with last year. I think it's so amazing too, especially with Mana Shim, how full circle her journey has been, and her talking about her business and her business partner at the White House. So casual, like, girl, you are incredible. Shout out and congratulations on your return. But I mean, what a feat for these players to come in and do that.
She goes and plays 75 plus minutes. Doesn't look like she missed a beat at all.
She didn't even look tired.
No, she was like joking about how she needs IVs, she needs the hydration.
She looks fresh-faced and fine.
Mana, you look great. You look great. Juan might look to sign her. You never know. We'll see. Gotham could use her. They got a playoff push coming up. Kansas City, they win the Summer Cup 2-0 over Gotham FC. Plenty more when we return. Stick with us. Welcome back to Attacking Third. Kansas City win the Summer Cup, and they do a Congo dance line to celebrate 2-0 over Gotham FC in San Antonio, Texas. Pretty fun. See these. Oh my gosh, Jericho dancing with the trophy. That's pretty fun to see.
That would be me. I like that energy.
That would be you. 2 goals for Kansas City, and they come by way of forward Temwa Shawinga. No surprise about it. 23 goals in her last 28 matches, all competitions. But tonight, Darian, what was so effective about Shawinga's game?
It was that she was playing in that more central nine, the rotation for Kansas City. I think it left her wide open. I mean, Gotham was not expecting her to be there. And from the game plan, even talking to Coach Juan Carlos Amorós, he talked about how good Kansas City is in transition. They scored both of these goals from build-out. Shawinga just waiting on the back line, waiting for her moment, not overcomplicating the game, combining with Claire Hutton and Lola Bonta. And that's something Vlatko Andonovski talked about. We spoke with him, and I said, how do you even coach Shawinga? How do you get more out of her? And he said, at this point, it's just building more on the relationships around her. And I think tonight, between both of the goals, we saw a combination of that, the timing, the run, the finish. This is just the most complete player I think the NWSL has seen in that forward position. Yeah, look at me surprised, Carlin. I'm saying it here. I do think she's the most complete forward that we've had in the NWSL, breaking records. She's so versatile, and I mean, she deserves a crown tonight. And even LaBonta, Jenny asking her, what was the secret to how you guys got here? She said, her name is Shawinga.
Yeah, it's so true, though.
It's so true.
So, Darian, you were an all-star forward in the NWSL. You were. NWSL champions, you scored goals, you were so effective. But if there's one thing from Temwa Shawinga's game that you could have had in your game, what would it be?
Ooh, I think it's her audacity she doesn't look like she second guesses anything that she's doing, the way that it's instinctual for her to just go to goal and barrel past people and go 1v1 and have these brilliant finesse and textured finishes. I think sometimes, especially as a forward, which, you know, I can get in my head, I can annoy myself with that. You don't see that in her game at all, and I think that's something, if you're a young player watching Chwenga play and how she is just very direct, you see that she's a goal scorer through and through. Take that as part of your game and just try. Be bold, be audacious, because that's definitely something I wish I had more in my locker when I was playing.
Oh, Dee, you were pretty audacious. Don't worry.
Thank you. I tried.
You got it. You bring it to the studio desk, too. You bring your audacity
I do my
here.
best. I do my best.
Well, one of Temwa Chwenga's teammates, midfielder Vanessa Bernardo, stood by with Jenny Chiu post-match. Take a listen.
All right, Vanessa Bernardo, congratulations, first of all, on the first inaugural Summer Cup win. How does it feel?
It feels good. It's good for us to get championship experience, and this is another opportunity for us to play in a championship game, so it's good to get the win.
So you just re-signed with Kansas City. That's been the biggest news in NWSL right now because you're such a great player. You've kind of transformed this team. What is so special about Kansas City that makes you want to stay?
It's just such a great environment. I think on the field, off the field, the city, the fans, it just kind of brings you in, and it's made me feel at home so quickly, and I've really enjoyed my time, and I'm excited to keep and play there and see what we can do in the next couple years.
So on Attacking Third, we have talked about how you don't get enough credit for all that you do over and over and over again. You are so pivotal to what Kansas City does, especially tactically. And Vlatko Antonovsky was speaking in the coaches' calls about how the way that he wants to play works because of you. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, honored. I think I enjoy the tactical side of the game, and I think the way we play challenges me, and honestly, every game's a little bit different, and my role's a little bit different, so that's challenging for me, and it helps me grow as a player, and I'm just having fun with it and just trying to enjoy it.
So while you can make the assists and you create all of these amazing plays, you now have someone on the end of it in Temwa Chwenga who is putting away absolutely everything you throw her way. How special is it to play with her?
She's such a special player. I think just watching her grow throughout this year has been amazing to witness as a teammate and just as a friend, and just seeing her willing to learn and just open for feedback. And she's such a great player that she doesn't need much help. I mean, she's such a great player, and she's showing the league that, and she's showing the world that, and it's fun to be able to play with her.
Well, you guys are hosting the final. I just want to talk about that. The whole fan base that is Kansas City, CPKC Stadium, it being a women's stadium. How incredible is it, the investment that, goes in that then comes along with the results?
It's amazing. I think we were so excited to have the stadium this year, and I think it's exceeded our expectations. You don't really know what it is until you have it, and it's been amazing just having our own field, own stadium. The schedule is whatever we want it to be. It's amazing, and just the fans really bring the energy, and you can feel that on the field. So it's been amazing to be able to play there, and we're excited to host the first round there and hopefully continue.
Beautiful. Thank you, Vanessa. I won't steal any more of your time, but good luck in playoffs.
Thank you.
I love this from Vanessa Bernardo. I think we finally get an interview with her because she's one of those unsung heroes for me in the NWSL, even when she was with Chicago and now with Kansas City, where she's finally getting the spotlight and the recognition that she deserves. I think that she's such a talented player, not in just her notching up assists. I mean, she can score bangers, she can score on set pieces, but watching her tactically and how well she knows the game. Vlatko Antonovsky spoke about her and talked about how she's one of those players that can just synchronize the entire team defensively. She can anticipate when something's happening. She knows how to make adjustments in real time, and that is such an underrated asset of a player that doesn't have to wait until a stoppage moment to then make adjustments in game. And I think we're finally really seeing it come together, and for her to get this win tonight and sign an extension with Kansas City is so well deserved from this player. I still think she's going to get a call up to the national team. She deserves it. She absolutely deserves it.
Bernardo signed that contract extension just one day ago. She wins a championship, and she's staying in Kansas City for another 2 years. Jenny Chiu, she is pitch-side in San Antonio, Texas, and she is standing by with Juan Carlos Amros, Gotham FC head coach.
Thanks, Lisa. Juan Carlos, you were dealt with quite a bit of a challenge coming into this match, having to sign 7 national team replacement players ahead of this game and losing even more to injury and everything else. How did you handle this challenge?
I think for us it's always the same, it's being ourselves. I think the girls were outstanding from start to finish. The players that are normally in the team, Mana and Sabrina that started the game, the people coming off the bench, super proud of the group. And I think we are who we are for staying loyal to how we play, and I think that showed tonight. Obviously they won the game, but I think this game, it just makes us stronger, honestly.
One of the things you talked about is that this is not the one, right, in terms of the tournament. You still have playoffs, you still have a championship to potentially win, but that you wanted to learn from this experience. What did you learn today?
That I have a group of players that is unbelievable, and so they play with the head, thinking about the game together. They play with the heart, leaving the heart on the pitch, and they have a group of players that can do anything, and between those things is definitely winning another championship for sure.
So what do you want to see from your team in the playoffs? They're right around the corner, Carlos.
Well, the first thing I would like to see is the players from the team being here. I think that's kind of important. No, but I just want to see what they've been doing all year. I think they've been outstanding. They've been playing some fantastic football. They defend together, they attack together. They are fun to watch. They are fun to coach, and I think they're really looking forward now to that game in Utah first, and then going to the playoffs and hopefully have home games and win the championship in Kansas. That's definitely our target.
Well, we had 2 really great teams on the field today. What do you have to say about Kansas City and their performance and their complete turnaround, right, from last season to now? Yeah,
congratulate Blatko. He's done a fantastic job. I think they definitely changed a lot. Obviously, I think Lo was saying, they have also a player that is making a little bit of a difference, but they're working fantastically well. Great organization. The stadium, everything around them. So congratulate them from here, and I hope we can see them in the final. That means that we are there, so that would be great. And that's what I have to say from them for sure.
Thank you, Juan Carlos.
Thank you very much, guys.
Despite this loss for Gotham FC, they still have playoffs around the corner in the NWSL regular season. What do they take from this experience in the Summer Cup and use it into the postseason?
The leadership that came from this, knowing, I think it brings a lot of camaraderie when you are at such a player deficit. You bring on these brilliant players that can help you guys stay in this game, but ultimately it's tough when you're going against a fully strong Kansas City when you have not your full squad together. But I think the players that were able to come in, that's a big confidence booster, knowing that they can still compete. Only 2-0. It's Shawinga. I mean, she's going to score like that against whoever. But knowing that your players like a Neely Martin, like a Delaney Sheehan, Ella Stevens, Bruninia, who I think had really good individual games, that's a really big confidence booster for when all of your players come back and you have a new level and depth of leadership in your team. And I think there's a lot of good moments to take from this. Defensively, they work together. As Juan Carlos said, they attack together, but didn't come out in the result at the end. But I do think that there's a lot of positives to take into the remainder of the season for them.
Plenty more to come for Gotham FC because they have a postseason and a trophy in the NWSL regular season to push for. Temwa Shawinga, a brace. She scores in 6 straight games and wins the Summer Cup for Kansas City. Stick with us. Welcome back to Attacking Third. Kansas City get the 2-0 win over Gotham FC to lift the Summer Cup in the championship and the final. They get another trophy, add it to their cabinet. But our very own good friend of the show, we miss her, Jenny Chiu. She is on the ground in San Antonio, Texas for this match. Jenny, welcome in. You chatted about Temwa Shawinga pre-match and everything that she brings to the game. Then you got to watch her pitch side. How electric was it to watch Shawinga live in person?
Oh, Lisa, I'm so grateful that you started with that question because she's unreal. All the people around me listened to me while I was like, did you guys see that? Oh my gosh. And that's exactly the same reaction I have when Messi plays and I cover the Inter Miami game. So that just goes to show you how in my mind, I'm so impressed with how she's scoring these goals. These are not easy goals that she's putting in the back of the net, no matter who you are. So it's incredibly impressive to be here and watch it live.
Jenny, how was the trophy ceremony? How was the energy of the team? Was it a culmination of all the blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into this tournament for these players?
You know, I think Kansas City was really excited because a trophy is a trophy. And more than anything, I feel like every time I talk to them on and off camera, it's how appreciative they are of all of the resources they've been given, right? The training facility, the stadium, the way that the ownership group is giving them power and letting them have their own schedules, right? They don't have to base upon another team, basically a men's team, to go around and be second hand basically to these teams, and how much they appreciate that and how that has kind of led to success. And while it may seem like a small thing, it's not, right? When you feel important and you feel like you're being prioritized, Darian, Lisa, you can both talk about this, you want to perform better. You feel empowered. You feel like they care. And I feel like this ownership group has really come in and made a difference.
You can see it even from the way Kansas City was celebrating post-win, Jenny. They just looked so happy, dancing around the field in the confetti with the trophy. But this matchup between Kansas City and Gotham, it's a top 4 matchup in the NWSL. Both teams going into playoffs, clinching a top 4 spot to host in the quarterfinals. Is this potentially a championship prequel that we could see in a few weeks?
I would love to see this matchup again with Gotham full strength, right? As much as we love seeing the Mana Shims of the world and Sabrina Flores and all of these players come back, Shayna Matthews we saw as well, come back from retirement and play. It's different, right? We didn't get the game that we expected because of that. When you're thinking about Gotham against Kansas City, you're thinking about the most electric matchup. And it will be that way in a couple of weeks. I feel like they both get through the quarterfinals. There's a possibility that they see each other again, and that's going to be full strength teams on both sides, and I'm really excited if that's an opportunity we get.
Jenny, what are some of the big takeaways for Gotham from this match? Yes, they weren't at full strength, but I thought we saw some players have to really step up in really big leadership roles. Do you think that's going to help them propel into maybe a final in this NWSL season?
You know what, Darian? For me, Ella Stevens is so impressive to watch. I thought that this game was one of the times when I felt like she's the most active, she's the most dangerous for Gotham. And I don't know whether she always gets that opportunity, right? When you think about Esther being on the field, sometimes she might overshadow Yasmin Ryan being on the field. She might overshadow, but now Ella Stevens, while she still scores goals while the other players are on the field, you can kind of see how important she is to their attack. So that's incredibly impressive. I absolutely love to see her.
Jenny, thank you so much. This was awesome to have you pitch side. We miss you. We're glad you're doing well out there, and we'll see you soon.
See you guys soon.
Jenny just talked about her potential player of the match, Ella Stevens there. But for you, when you look at Gotham FC, who stood out to you player-wise?
Bruninia. This is a player that this year doesn't get as many minutes as she got last year, and that's really hard to reconcile in your mind when you're a usual starter and you come in and you don't get the same minutes. It's very inconsistent. I think she looked so sharp, and the battle of her and Chewinga, the first 20 minutes of this match, was so fun because she found a way to lock her out, which was being physical from the jump. As soon as Chewinga starts to run, knock her a bit. And then she started to build into the attack, building with Ella Stevens, Jenny's player, Delaney Sheehan, and she just looked really fluid. She had probably Gotham's best chance at the end of the first half, but she was a player that I thought just looked like she had to skip a beat for how many games she's maybe had to sit out, how many minutes she hasn't gotten, and she was a lifeline for them in this match.
Both sides of the ball for Bruninia were electric for Gotham. She was a complete player in this match, putting her all on the line for Gotham FC in this final. As a whole, the Summer Cup, it was the first time ever we got to see NWSL teams against Liga MX Femenil teams, and this very first inaugural tournament, Darian, did you like it? You want to see it again? Give me your thoughts. Come on.
I like it in theory. I do. The former player in me thinks, I always come from this perspective where I'm like, why would we have a final missing so many of our players? Why would we have a Summer Cup in the fall, right before playoffs? I love that we're getting the expansion of Liga MX teams coming to play. We're getting looks from brilliant players that maybe we haven't heard of here in the United States. They're getting opportunities to be seen by coaches that they never got to get looks from, and vice versa. I love this. I think it's huge for the growth of the women's game, and I want more of this to happen. I don't know if the format makes a lot of sense to me in the future. I think I'd like to see something where there's opportunities where, yes, you can show your depth, but it's not so spread out, and during times where you're actually hurting some teams going into these matches because you want to get the best out of the best. And I think it's great in theory, but I think there are some adjustments that need to be made, similar to how we saw with the Challenge Cup.
Yeah,
I imagine
always
tournaments
growth.
like these, there's going to be a lot of growth, but I like the start of it.
There was still some positives to take out of this.
Absolutely.
When you think about the Summer Cup as a whole, there's 14 NWSL clubs, 6 Liga MX clubs, but of all the clubs outside of Kansas City who wins and lifts the trophy, who benefited the most from this tournament over the summer?
On the NWSL side, I will say Utah. We've been critical of Utah on attacking third, I know, but I have a lot of pride there being a team from Utah, and I think this was an opportunity to see them grow. They got a lot of games under their belt. It was almost like a reset in a preseason for them, where they got to have a more defined style of play. They looked like they were in better fitness. They had a better game plan going to matches. Players looked like they were confident and thriving finally, which is what we wanted to see from the jump of the season. And I think that they had a lot of growth, and now they can play spoiler to a lot of teams that they've come up against, because they have been really solid defensively and now look lethal in the attack.
Utah, they topped their group in the Summer Cup, one of the 5 groups, but they finished on 6 points, so they just missed out on the semifinals, but Utah grew a lot in this tournament. Ultimately, Kansas City lifts the cup, 2-0 win over Gotham. Don't go anywhere. We're talking U.S. next. The U.S. women's national team gets set to play their second friendly of this international window, just the second match since winning gold this past summer. Sunday, the U.S. will take on Iceland. 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time is kickoff. You can watch it on TNT, and then post-game, tune into Attacking Third, because we'll get to hear all of Darian's takes on the U.S. women's national team in the second friendly. Hot ones. I like it. We got hot ones after the first match, too, because the U.S. took on Iceland just a day ago on Thursday of this week. They end up winning 3-1. Goals from the young guns. The youth showed out for the U.S. women's national team. It was Alyssa Thompson, Jaden Shaw, and Sophia Smith netting all 3 goals for the United States. But which player for the U.S. stood out to you the most in that match?
I think we both agree. Alyssa Thompson. I mean, to get the nod from Emma Hayes to be the only player that wasn't at the Olympics to get the start. Look at how young she looks. You just want to squeeze her, because she's so cute, so young, but so lethal, so electric in the attack. And for some reason, she was the only player that I thought, wow, nobody else can keep up with her. She is just in the zone. She looks so good off of the ball. That was really a piece of growth I've seen from her, is her checking away, checking to movements that I think were so confusing to the Icelandic defense, and it left her open in pockets of space. She was dishing and giving the ball so quickly, 1-2 touch. And then when she was really found her groove into the game, going 1v1, having that beautiful goal, and then from then on, Iceland just had to respect her so much. But I think she really elevated the game of everybody around her, and it was so impressive. I mean, this is a 19-year-old
crazy
showing out in a women's national team game and somehow getting her first goal with the women's national team. We were all so confused, thinking she was her 5th or 6th. But yeah, she was the standout player of the match for me for the game last night.
Alyssa Thompson got the goal scoring started in the first half for the United States women's national team. And then 19-year-old teammate Jaden Shaw subbed on to this match, and she gets the second goal for the U.S. And it's a beaut. It may be beautiful, more beautiful than Alyssa Thompson's, because of the way Shaw was able to just drive through the defenders and just stretch and toe poke it. It was the instinctual moment for Jaden Shaw to score that goal, as she looks ready to come back and play more significant minutes. You could tell Shaw was so disappointed that she didn't get to play at the Olympics due to an injury that she suffered just before the tournament started, and she wanted that back. And we got to see a glimpse of the Jaden Shaw at full strength with this U.S. side, with some of these other players that are really feeling themselves. I mean, Alyssa Thompson, Jaden Shaw on the pitch at the same time.
Ooh.
Could you imagine that?
Shake and bake, baby.
Imagine that.
Shaw came in with venom to this match of all of the promises that we were hoping to see from her going into the Olympics and all of the momentum she had and confidence. I'm glad to see that she hasn't lost it and in fact has channeled it, and she only got a small amount of minutes into this game, put it into a goal, and then she looked dangerous. The way she was dishing the ball, her movement looked good. I think the only thing that's missing is her full 90-minute fitness, which is just going to come. But I love this for Shaw. She's one of the players that I think all of us agreed going into the Olympics. We were so excited to see her take more of from Emma Hayes in that 10 position or in the false 9. But I think she's another one of those players that's so young, 19 again, that just elevates everybody around her, which is so crazy with the depth that the U.S. has. But she's really, really making a name for herself just from that few minutes she got in last night's game.
The future is bright when you consider these 19-year-olds are scoring bangers with the United States women's national team. But the U.S. did concede a goal. 56th minute, just into the second half, Iceland gets one on the board. And there were a number of chances and moments where Iceland looked really dangerous. Where was the breakdown defensively for the U.S.?
The U.S., because there's been such a hyper-focus on the attacking principles and the defensive principles, the U.S. has always been so solid. There's never been a doubt that everybody knows the basics, the fundamentals, and we saw a breakdown of that. And I think that's just because it's not something they get tested on so often. But you saw players not tracking their runners, getting a little bit torn up because everybody's trying to hustle back. Rose Lavelle overruns the ball, which credit to her for trying to make up for it. But Magnusdottir, I believe, cuts it to her left and has this brilliant whipped goal past Alyssa Nair, and we were all hands on our heads, shook it. What a beauty it was. I mean, every goal last night was a banger, but for me, it was the way that the U.S. responded after that was so important, and I think just another lesson to have in their pocketbook that's going to excel this team forward.
There's elements when an opponent scores an absolute golazo that you just say, hey, great goal, congrats to you, but there was defensive structure and organization leading up to Iceland's goal from the U.S.'s perspective. They should have done better, whether it's pressure, cover, sliding, tracking your runners, and then closing down the space when the shooter goes to shoot. At least help Alyssa Nair in goal a little bit by putting some pressure on the shot taker. But the U.S., they get it done 3-1 over Iceland, and they get a rematch coming up on Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and Attacking Third has your recap.